This is a video chart presentation on Smokefree Innotec brought to you by allpennystocks.com with technical analysis by Andy from Understanding Pincher Plays. Smokefree is a pink sheet stock. It trades under the ticker SFIO. We're looking at Smokefree chart as a possible bottom play. You can see this is a 6-month chart. It's been in a solid downtrend, so we're going to look for indications of possible reversals. First and foremost, we're seeing a nice positive divergence of the MACD. Simply put, the indicator's trending up, the price per share is trending down. It's called a positive divergence. The MACD is very commonly used for looking for long-term reversals. So being a 6-month chart, this is a pretty positive, pretty nice positive divergence that's going on. This is kind of what we refer to as an offset pinch. See, the peaks and valleys didn't necessarily line up. What's important from there is you're still going to look for the PPO to also trend towards zero. Right now we're still in a valley. We're going to look for that to turn and start to make a move back north. The histograms are both kind of giving a little bit of a hint that they're going to break back through zero, which is bullish crosses of the signal lines. And also the overall, we want to see this MACD break through zero. It's commonly referred to as the money line because the chart turns pretty bullish when the MACD is trending over zero. ADX is still down plenty low. This is what's in a trading pattern. We're going to want to see this turn and make its move. You can see the ADX isn't real susceptible to whipsaws. The positive and negative DIs certainly can snap back and forth pretty quick, but the ADX is the gauge of the momentum behind it. It's down low. This will show some strength if it can start making its turn. It's flatlining right now, so we're going to see it make its turn and start giving some strength to this chart as the positive DI will hopefully snap back to the north, showing that there's some buying pressure and positive momentum to this chart. The MFIs are in a pretty nice position, all relatively close together. That's one thing that I look for. Kind of a little bit of a sideways trend to them is also kind of resembling the whole chart, trying to flatline a little bit. Got a big spike here, which happened to be on a high volume day with a nice gap up. Long lower wick pulled right back up. Of course, the slide continued, but that's a great volume day. Over 7 million shares traded, and a nice move. That's why the MFI spiked like that. Kind of retraced, like I say, going sideways. All together, we've got the 7-day start or the 14-day starting to make its turn. 7 down lower. That means the 7, which will turn faster and move quicker. If it can start to make its turn, it'll pull right through both of those, which the lower crossing is a little bit of a bullish sign also. So still holding above 50, still plenty of room to make a move. The MFI is in a fine position. The accumulation distribution, solid downtrend. This is going to have to start to flatten and start to make a move north. You can see the last day or two it has flattened, but that's because of the long lower shadows, lower wicks that this has taken on some selling and then pulled right back up. So you're starting to see a little bit of a flat line in the accumulation distribution. This is going to have to make a turn and try and get out of this downtrend that it's in. The shaken money flow is in a pretty nice position. Hasn't spent a lot of time in the green, so to speak, as people say it, back above zero, very little time. But it has a nice trend towards it. A lot of times when you're looking for long-term reversals, these snaps don't give it to you sometimes. You want to see smoother actions. And this has got a nice trend, a nice smooth trend heading back towards zero. So again, in a longer perspective, we're going to look for this to get through zero and spend some time up in the green above it. The CCI, this is a classic. Technical traders will use this -100 for bottom feeders as a break. It's coming out of oversold. They'll use it as a buy point a lot of times. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Pretty nice position, nice little uptrend to it as well recently. The full stow is not. This is used differently by people. For bottom feeders, they're looking for it to be down nice and low, so it has a ton of room to move to the upside. Momentum traders will look for it a lot of times on that break of 50 to get into a bullish area. So it's kind of hanging out right in the middle. It still has plenty of room to move to the north side, and a small move will put this into bullish territory as well. So not really oversold, but not in a bad position as it sits right now. The Trix, it's not going to continue this trend line. I actually should put this down a little lower. The Trix turns very slow. It's a very smooth indicator. You want to see this trending towards zero, which it is. But what it needs to do is stop this little bit of separation that's starting to establish. This black line needs to start to make a curl up towards the red and break through it. You want to see a bullish cross of it, and let this continue to trend towards zero. It's a good indicator for long-term movements. The RSI, one of the most common used indicators amongst all traders, is in a great position. You want to see these all in the same proximity, all pushed right together, and you like to see this. The lower ones are going to get pushed through by the short term, are going to get pushed through by the longer ones here. So we'll see it snap through that. You want to see it get above 50. You can see that the 7 has spent a little bit of time above it. The 14 and 21, the longer, in this whole 6-month chart, have not, one time made it through it, rode along it. You're going to want to see the 7 push through the 14 and 21 and try and make these follow behind it and get through 50. But again, a break through 50 puts you in bullish chart territory. I think a lot of this key to this chart lies right here in these indicators. This bottom support must hold. I know that they get some at 0046, but I'd say that's pretty thin unless it wants to come down and hit it a few more times and give it some strength. Right now it's just not much. It's a one-day wick that, it could have been one sell. So we're going to look at this as a 005 as being much stronger. I did happen to watch this close today. It closed with the bid and ask at 0061 and 0062. So it's going to test this resistance quite possibly immediately tomorrow. But this bottom support really has to hold. So there's just not much support below it. So if it doesn't hold, it's hard predicting as to where this is going to go. As far as resistance goes, I'm going to move this line along with it. There's going to be some here at 006. Obviously, it's been tough for it for the last couple days. It touched it back here as a support level that it inevitably fell through. So it's going to be, kind of minor there at 006. It did, like I say, it closed with the bid and ask above it. So it's probably going to come right out and try and test that tomorrow. 007 starts to get a little bit tougher because there's the 20-day moving average as well as some candlestick resistance. So we're going to look to see if 007 it can be broken where it gets a little tougher. It's important to get above this middle Bollinger Band and an overall reversal of the chart. So we want to see this purple line fall and this price per share get broken through. It's going to start to stiffen up a little bit more when you start getting up in here. 008 is the 50-day moving average right there, and some more candlestick support level that fell through, turned into immediate resistance, had a hard time closing above it. Beyond there, you're talking some pretty nice gains because you're getting up here at 009, which is pretty significant. It couldn't get through it, It hasn't been able to really move through it except for one day since the middle of June. So that resistance level is going to be pretty stiff there. Plus, it's moving to the outside of the Bollinger Bands. So I'd look for the 009 to become tougher. And then ultimately, the penny, which is a classic psychological barrier. Obviously, it's monster gains from where it is right now. Very, very nice. Outside the Bollinger Band. I think you're looking for this either on a pop or on a little bit more of a couple-day rise and see what it does with the Bollinger Bands. What's not bad about this is that there's pretty clear sailing. After if it can move through the penny, it's got a pretty clean shot up to the penny and a half 016 area. What's important for this chart is if you want to see it break through these lower resistances without too much trouble. It might have a little bit of trouble with 8. You certainly want to see it challenge 9. If it wants to retrace, that's okay. It's totally healthy. Let it hold some of its gains, catch some support from either the 50-day or the 20-day, make a new higher low, and then continue its trend to the north side to show that this is indeed found a bottom, and then look for this to make just one big rounded bottom and look for some larger move down the road. Right now, what's important on a day-to-day thing is hold this 005. I think it's imperative that it holds that, and that it tests first and foremost this middle Bollinger Band, and then that 50-day moving average. We want to see it get up into there, and ultimately like to see it test that 009. Again, big gains, 50%, and pretty heavy resistance right through there. But that's where I'd be shooting for this. If it can hold this 005 area, certainly hold this where it closed today, and continue to try and make its move to the north side. Again, this is Andy taking a look at SFIO. I am not a financial consultant and strongly encourage you to do your own proper due diligence and that you speak with a qualified investment advisor before making any investment decisions. Past performance does not guarantee future results. To start learning technical analysis, stop by the All Penny Stocks website and click on the featured link for Understanding Pinch Replays. Thank you, and trade smart.